And good afternoon, I should say now, Minister and team. I suppose I just want to echo what other speakers have said about CAMHS and the frustration I'm hearing from families where children are, sent to CAMHS by maybe referred by the CDNT, they're refused admission there, sent back to CDNT, and they're just falling between two stools. And I know you've talked about it there. And you've talked about increased collaboration between the teams, and I welcome that because that is what's needed. But the fact is they're understaffed anyway, so that's a huge issue. And I know, again, you've been addressing that as well. But so I think until we fully staff all of our teams, children are not going to get the services they require. And I just wonder how many autistic children, if they received the services they require through either primary care or the CDNTs, would need CAMHS. Because many of the mental health issues are born out of the fact that they're not getting the services such as speech and language or occupational therapy or psychology within the CDNTs. But I know you have talked about that already. So I think we need to increase our teams, and we need to increase the collaboration across all of the teams as well. I just want to raise an issue around adults, autistic adults, and mental health issues. And I'll give an example because I know it's been actually similar cases that have been raised with me from a number of quarters. A 19-year-old young lad, as his mother described to me, had distress response behaviour. So obviously, again, not receiving services he required within the community, became quite, irate and violent and a danger to himself and others. And she reached out for help. And next thing, he's admitted to an adult mental health unit. It's not an appropriate setting. Even the team there have said it's not an appropriate setting. Yet he's still there 8 months later, and they won't discharge him home, which is what he wishes and what the family want. Because they say they have to wait until the service becomes available that they can refer him to. They haven't made it clear what this service is. His mother maintains he only needs speech and language and maybe some personal assistance, but they won't let him home. Now, he's not a ward of court. I do know of another instance very similar where someone was made a ward of court in the same circumstances against their wishes, against the family's wishes or knowledge, actually, or understanding of what was actually happening. And now they're citing Section 26 of the Mental Health Act as to why he cannot go home. That he's, like, the team in the mental health unit have admitted he's not a mental health patient. He's autistic. He needs supports. And he's not getting the support, and it's having a very traumatic effect on him. And his mother is extremely worried that if he's now sent to another strange place where there's nobody he knows, after the traumatic experience he's had over the last number of months in a mental health unit, it's going to only be worse. So, Minister, can you please address these issues where, because I believe this is happening on quite a regular basis, where young autistic adults are being sent into inappropriate settings and maintained there against their will and against the family's will, just because a small number of services have not been provided for them in the community.
Obviously, Deputy, I can't comment on individual cases, and if you want to send on that details of that case, my two colleagues here will certainly look at it. But I would have to say, and maybe it's the broader picture of when some young people who are receiving supports up to 18 and then they age out, and maybe that's the issue, because you refer to this young person as being 19, and and that's something that we are looking at in relation to mental health. So for example, Jigsaw provides supports from those aged 12 to 25. There's a subcommittee now in place under the National Implementation and Monitoring Committee, specifically looking at whether a young person should age out at 18, whether it should be 21, 23 or 25. In a lot of countries it is actually 25, and maybe that's part of the issue. As I said, it's difficult to discuss individual cases, but I am not aware, and I'll let Dr. Amir in on this now, but I wouldn't be aware of many adults in the Department of Psychiatry in our approved centre, the length and breadth of the country, with a diagnosis of autism. Like they would have to be retained under the Mental Health Act under a diagnosis of mental health.
Thank you very much. First of all, can I say, this is the other side of it. Like normally we were complained about having lack of access and those kind of things. And if somebody is in the acute unit and we detain somebody involuntary against their will, we have to have very solid reasons, because there is a very strict scrutiny by Mental Health Commission on every admission that we admit in our approved centres. We have to answer back to a solicitor, to an independent person, and to a consultant who comes and challenge the team who are admitting somebody. So there is a very robust process when we admit somebody against their will. So I think I can't specify about this case, but all I can say is that the team who is holding this child will have very valid reasons to hold them. It would be a multidisciplinary assessment, and probably on the basis of risk assessment, they would have made that decision. On the other side, I totally accept, and this is the reason why sometimes our bar is a little bit high, so that we know that if the needs of this 19-year-old or any child are better met in primary care or in disability services, we don't want to admit them in mental health, because instead of helping them, we might be going the other way around of not helping them, admitting them in an environment which will be more stressful and all of that. But certainly, if you provide me more details, I'll be happy to look into it.
And Deputy, could I just say as well, for everybody who's involuntarily detained in a mental health facility in our approved centres, we have 56 of them all over the country, the Mental Health Commission have a huge role to play here. Each person is entitled, as Dr. Amir said, to a tribunal. With a solicitor in place, with an advocate, with a consultant psychiatrist. And as I said, the Mental Health Commission, they are in charge of these tribunals for every single person's care, especially those that are involuntarily detained. So, you know, not knowing the details, but it would be very unusual for someone to be involuntarily detained for that length of time if the medical diagnosis wasn't there to back it up. But certainly, if you pass it on, we will certainly have that looked at for you.
Because I've been informed that the mental health team in the adult unit have said this person should not be there, that they're inappropriately placed there. You know, so they have actually said this. But the problem is they won't allow this person to go home, even though that's their wish and their family's wish. And insisting that a service be provided, which isn't there.
I guarantee you I'll clarify and provide you the information about it.
You can send it through me. And
okay.
Yeah.